Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know that this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the Great Pacific Northwest. Each week, we're going to talk about caches and cachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're walking around the block for the 12th time today, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Well, that must mean it's time to bring in our challenging chimp. Some say he can hang upside down longer than a bat. And others say the fastest way from point A to point B is on his shoulders. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
It's the Bat Monkey.
All right. Hey, it's good to be here. Good to be back with my friends. And a face I have not seen in a long time. Jesse, Memfis Mafia. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. Glad to be back.
I'm trying to remember. Have we had you on the podcast before? Maybe?
Don't get me wrong. I've been on podcast with... I know we've had you on. I think I've been on this show once, haven't I? Have I not? I don't know.
I think you have, but it was ages ago. Yeah.
It's the first time I remember, but I missed a lot, so I don't think we've ever connected before.
Hey, who knows? You know, it happens. We're all friends in the podcast world, so
There you go.
okay.
Jesse, I don't know. There's some people out there that saying the song is pretty awesome. The dancing isn't so bad. No.
He wasn't talking about me.
Doesn't dance.
Y'all's dancing isn't so bad. Mine is horrible.
So
She knows that for a fact.
the podcasters, we're all friends, but in the chat, you don't have some friends in there. So, guys, you got to be nice.
I'm even married to that one, so that's pretty bad. But I can't be too mean because she's like 5 feet from me. So
There you go.
she's just on the other side of this wall of video. So
Well,
I'm a little
more than
scared of her.
welcome- She's more than welcome to come and join us anytime. We love her. Anyways. So tonight, folks, if you haven't figured it out yet, we are talking about challenge caching with our guest and friend who we haven't seen for way too long, Memfis Mafia. Memfis, welcome back to the show, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. And you know what? Before we kick into the topic and get into all the fun we're going to have, because we have fun every night when you guys are with us, we are also going to throw out a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep the podcast coming each and every week. And a special thanks to Land Sharks with a Z, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Hey, Land Sharks want to remind you that the Wonders of the World has started, and Land Sharks has the coin and tag sets and patches. For those like Mrs. Monkey who love their patches, they're all in stock and they're ready to ship. So, I'll tell you what, if you want to know more about supporting this show, just head on over, click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
That's right. And folks, it's now time for the glow. Jesse, do you know what a glow is?
I do know what a glow is. I know that I have been featured on Glow before.
The glow is the geocaching log of the week. So whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a field recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call in because we'd love to hear your voice as you read your very own glow. You can call into 253-693-TFTC or use the voicemail tool on the website and show us how you glow.
That's right. He keeps pushing that field recording, but I got to guess that the percentages of those are like, the Mariners winning road record there. So,
Well,
surprise him and throw one in there. Send it out there. You never know. Could make his day.
do it. I dare you.
Yeah, it'll be
Double
fun.
dog dare
Now
you.
people will do it. That's what it took. It took a double dog dare.
Ooh. Breach protocol and jump straight to the triple dog dare. Hey, let's go to the glow. This one was submitted by listener Rich Schleifer on behalf of Paul Richards. It is from I don't know what cache it's from, but it's a fun log nonetheless. The log reads, looked at this one shortly after publication. With one person walking toward it and no parking signs nearby, I drove to the end of the I think that's and no parking signs nearby. Let me change my emphasis there. I drove to the end of the block and walked back. As I approached ground zero, the pedestrian stopped right at ground zero to tie his shoes. A classic cover for a geocacher. But he not only untied his shoes, he took them off, as well as his socks, and then draped the socks over the fence, all the time talking to unseen conversationalists all around him. I returned to my car and went somewhere else. I returned today after finding Linwood Light Rail, used the close but prohibited parking to discover the socks are still there. Easy find, thanks for the adventure.
And
It's like a bonus. You got
Yeah, so if you need a pair of socks,
That is odd.
that's a good summary.
now I found a cache where you have to cross a log on a creek, and in the cache was a dry pair of socks, which I thought was a nice touch if you had an accident getting there. But yeah, this they may not have been dry at the cache. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man. Well, it's also time for us to remind folks that if you have some ideas that you want to add to the podcast tonight, if you've got questions for Memphis Mafia about challenge caching, use #challenge in the chat, and we'll try and grab that. I'm noticing we are without our chat lackey tonight.
I know. I don't know what we're going to do.
stock is pay.
Yeah, that's right. So 100% of 0 is what? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll also remind you, of course, as always and every week, use #FATAS to bring up a topic in the extemporaneous. Is that a word?
Extemporaneous.
Extemporaneous.
Free
Okay.
association. That is the after show.
There you go. Well, I tripped over that word. Well done, Chris.
Oh, hey, folks. In news, I know there is some geocaching news. This weekend, this very weekend, is International Geocaching Day. August 15th is International Geocaching Day, the day devoted to enjoying what we love, geocaching. Every third Saturday in August. You know, this happens every year. Have you marked your calendar and planned your cache outing yet? By logging any cache on August 15th or 16th. They're extending it, I believe, just this year. I wouldn't count on that next year. Well, who knows? I mean, as bad as 2020 is, 2021, I don't know if it has a chance. Anyway, if you log a cache on either one of those days, you can earn the International Geocaching Day souvenir. So even though the geocaching 20th anniversary celebration has been rescheduled to International Geocaching Day next year, doesn't mean you should skip this year.
Don't skip any opportunities to get out and cache, even if your video flickers like crazy, because you just never know what it's going to do.
You know, it could be gray and foggy, but you
should be.
You totally fogged up there.
Yeah, well, you know, somehow I've irritated the Googles, I guess. Who knows? But enough about me. Let's throw it over to our guest. Welcome to the show. As we've discussed a few minutes ago, whether it's your first or a return visit, you're still welcome here. But maybe if you haven't been here before, or maybe a listener didn't catch you when you were here before, maybe you could tell people a little bit about us, where you're from. Clearly, you're from Memphis, Tennessee. I don't know what else it could be. Give us your geocaching history in a nutshell.
So I actually am from Memphis, although that's kind of where the name came from. So, you know, we cache as a family. We did find our first cache in Memphis, and then immediately 2 years after, found our second cache in Colorado after we moved about a year or so later. The first cache didn't take. The second cache, we got into caching because we moved to Colorado, just away from everybody. My family listens. Not away from everybody. That's not what I meant to say. We moved where we didn't know anybody. Whole new town, and had young kids, and we're looking for something to do. And an article came up online, and you know, we started geocaching, and that time it stuck. So we started then, and of course, you know, we did like everybody else, signed my name to the first few that we found, and didn't know anything, and ended up throwback to Memphis, where we came from and met and everything else. That was the thing. So, but now we live in northern Colorado, cache mostly as a family. The kids have aged over the last 10 years. I haven't, but they have. They've aged. So it's not as cool all the time as it was when they were younger. So now it's really just the wife and I, who is in the chat room bullying me, but send for help. She's looking. So northern Colorado is where we are. and love it. Can't complain a bit. We live in one of the best places in the world. So,
Well, Keats 94 wants to know where the Mafia comes from.
So actually, my wife used to work at Graceland, so Elvis Presley's home. And for anybody that knows, Memfis Mafia was Elvis's group, like his Rack Pack. So we were from the Memphis area. That's where we went to college and stuff. She was a big Elvis fan. Kind of morphed those and found that we changed the spelling of it, obviously, because they make them after us, because they're going after all those people for trademarks, right? But just to be funny, we changed it, and it's funny. We a lot of people use names that they use like on AOL and everything else, and transferred it over. We did the opposite, so we came up with that name brand new, and have used it on everything over the last decade. If we go bowling or trivia or anything, we use that name for. If it doesn't fit, we're not doing that activity. If you can't use that name, we're leaving. So shirts, we made our own family shirts and all the silly things you do. So we really just jumped into that and had it as a family, and have not gone away from it since.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well, Jesse, your wife hasn't thrown things at you yet, so I think it's okay to continue.
Okay, good.
I don't know. She may not let you be on this podcast again.
That's right. I've got an extra couch in my office.
Okay. Now, we understand you may know just a thing or two about challenge caches. Some may even say you wrote the book on it.
Nope.
No?
We got the wrong notes. That's the other Jesse you talked to about challenges. That wasn't me.
Oh, bummer. Okay.
No, I did. Woohoo! We did write challenge. We did write a book. There it is. There. Oh, sorry. Here we go.
Yeah.
Get it on the screen. So yeah, we did write a book, and a lot of that is just because we go to events. Events are probably the number one thing we do. So we talk to people a lot, and I actually found a weird stat the other day. Besides events, I think we found almost 50% of all of our caches outside of our home state. So we do it a lot when we travel and we go. And when we got introduced to challenges years and years ago, and it just has given us so much enjoyment as a family that when you come across people and they say, "Oh, I don't get into that. Those are, they'd be intimidated by it, or I don't understand how they do it." So we really wanted to inspire people because, like with us, it's been a thing for us all to do as a family. So we really wanted to get some of that information out there and started collecting all that information. Luckily, doing what we all do as podcasters, we get to talk to everybody. So everybody in geocaching. So we can easily collect information and, talk to the original hiders of caches and all that fun stuff that most people don't get a chance to do. So we did summarize all that information, and, it's on Amazon now, Geocache Challenges. I don't think there's another one called that out there, so you'll probably find ours. But it's been great. And the interesting thing about that book, and this is not really about challenges, it's about that book and how you connect to people. We hid trackables inside that book so you can find them as you go through. And the funny thing is, still, since it's been out, every once in a while I'll get a trackable log and somebody will say, "I'm doing this," or whatever. And I've talked to several people in the geocaching world just from those trackables in the book. So it's been pretty neat to be able to connect to more and more people like that. So
Nice.
yeah, not a bad benefit of that book. So it's been able to talk to a lot of people, to open a lot of conversations, and people have told me that they started challenge caching after they read the book, and I'm like, well, that's all I could hope for right there. So
That's awesome.
It's always great to hear that you impacted somebody in a positive way.
yeah, I'm still waiting on that kickback from headquarters, but
Yeah.
it hasn't happened yet. So I want a penny for each one found, but
Well, apparently, we have JD or Lisa from Cache Advance in the Cache Cave that our Cache Crate members loved the book.
that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I love that. I would take that any day over, the 5-star Amazon review or anything like that. Somebody saying we love this and we had fun doing it, and now our family's going to try it. I'll take that any day of the week.
There you go.
So
That's great. Well, there are so many different types of challenges. We recently did a show on calendar-based challenges, which coincidentally was episode 365. Who planned that? But there's plenty of other different types of challenges. Are there specific groups or classes of challenge caches?
There are, and we've all heard a bunch of them, and so I think the way that I would break them up, not that this is anything official, right? Like there's no classes technically, but I would say the numbers one. If I was going to break them all up, the numbers. So that's your milestones. We all do that. Hopefully, we all celebrate those every time. Find 5,000 caches or whatever, and then your number of cache types. That can be a hard one depending on which time. Find 100 traditionals, find 1,000 puzzles, that kind of stuff. And then what I would call the timed ones. So time challenges are generally like find X number in a day or a month or a year. They used to do a long time ago, right before the moratorium, find 5 states in a day or whatever. You don't generally see that anymore. But now you kind of put, even though it's kind of a 365, I know y'all talked about that on there, but the streak is kind of a time challenge, I would say. Find them every day for a month or a year or whatever. 360. It used to be all kinds of stuff, but now 365 is the limit, right? So, which makes sense because that's a horrible, horrible challenge to do. But the streak, we almost quit geocaching after we did that challenge. And then I would say like historic would be another one. So that's your older ones like Jasmer, find 25 caches from the year 2000. You see those out there. The original Fizzy actually would fall into both categories of that and like the DT, right? Because the original Fizzy challenge, I believe, that was put out for Fizzy Magic was you have to find the Fizzy of ones that were before that challenge. So they wouldn't let you do now, but before a certain date. That's a pretty hard version of it. And then of course leading into the regular Fizzy, like the DT based ones. The Fizzy or your average DT, which I'll never be able to get your average DT over 2, both of those. I don't know if y'all have done those challenges. Those are super hard if you go to events. It really plummets your average DT rating. And then location based, which are kind of our favorite. Find all the counties, states, or provinces or countries, in your area. And then I guess the other category I would put everything into is the old ones. So the pre-moratorium ones. And those are just all those crazy ones that we can't do anymore. Like, spell out my cat's name and DNF. There's one in my state that's still out there for 100 DNFs. So you wouldn't be able to do that now, but that's pretty cool. And then there was one that they wouldn't do now that I think is still pretty cool that I can't qualify for. Your streak has to match your longest slump. So your longest streak has to match your longest slump. So if you've only gone 2 or 3 days on a slump, you can easily do that.
Right.
But if you're like me and have gone 619 days for a slump, then I'm not going to do 619 days in a row. That's never going to happen for me. Yeah. But I think that's the biggest, broadest category. Now there's hundreds of challenges out there, right? And even post moratorium with all the rules, and I'm sure you've covered that before. But even after the new rules and the checkers and everything else, there's a lot of really creative challenges are still out there. So I wouldn't want anybody to think that with the checker that you can't make some really creative challenges. If you search for them at all, you'll find a lot of interesting ones out there.
Well, and if you're struggling to find some, Landsharks thinks they own at least 2 pre-moratorium challenges. So get in touch with them. Yeah.
If you got them, keep them because you can't put them out again. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Unless they just decide, I'm going to take all the rules away again. They're probably not going to do that. So
I don't think that's going to happen.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Well, that was class, genus, and species of caches. That's great.
Well, I tend to like them a little bit, so I can probably talk about them for a long time.
I can tell, yeah.
No,
they are. That's almost the game for us now is challenges. Anything we find probably fits into some challenge.
So Jesse, based on that, Wet Coaster would love to know for you and Christy, how many challenge caches have you guys completed?
We really haven't completed that many. I think we're around less than 300. So we've done I think we've completed less than 300. Now we're working on a bunch, but a lot of the ones that we're looking at now. So one, like everybody does, you learn as you go. First, I didn't know that you should sign them and track them and do things like this, the ones you're working on. And we went by a bunch and we're just like, oh, that seems like a good idea. Let's do that. And they disappear. So I was a little behind the 8 ball to start off, but we're probably tracking, I don't know, another good 30, 40, 50 challenges now. Most of ours that we have now, everything got slowed down right now, right? But most of ours that we have right now there's a lot of challenges that are similar. So like, they have them in a bunch of states, like, Jasmer, Fizzy, stuff like that. We're trying to get all 50 states. We're trying to finish off our counties. Those both should have been done this year, but something happened. I don't know. Things slowed down. But things like that. So we are working on some of those type of challenges now. But most of what we do is related to right now finding older caches if we can.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, if you ever come up here, I think Keats just mentioned it in the chat. Yeah, I'm going to pull this up here. Certainly over in Halifax, there's a Challenge Alley series. But if you guys make it up here to BC to come and visit Laura and I again, there is a GeoArt near Kelowna, BC called the Challenge Bear. It's some Forest Service roads with 100 different challenge caches, making a GeoArt of a big old bear in the woods.
Nice. I like it. That can just inspire you for a long time. And we're definitely of the mindset now, if we come near a challenge at all, we sign it. And we may work on it or we may not. Whatever. We still found a cache, right? So it's still fun. It didn't count as a find then, but whatever. There's other caches out there. But one day you may work on it. And like the streak or something like that, I was adamantly opposed to a streak until life circumstances put us into where we could do one again years later. And there's definitely some challenges that I think right now would never apply to me, but I'd still sign them if I came by them. So just in case, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
So our mutual friend Udak asked, did you ever attempt a challenge that was too challenging or almost impossible and it turned you off of challenges for a while?
Yes. So, and people are not going to like this answer, right? But I'll probably have, if the right questions are here, I'll probably have a couple answers that people don't like because my opinions are different. But I hate those Baker's Dozen challenges because I'm not a GSAC guy, right? So some of those old ones that were like, but they made their own up where, find one day of one puzzle, find 2 days of 3 puzzles and something else. And
okay.
I just don't like, to me, that's not fun going through stats to do that. I think everybody should do whatever ones that make them have fun. But something like that you're really just having to look through and I'm spoiled with the checkers. I love those checkers. Those are awesome, right? Yeah. Or something that I can visualize a lot better. But something that's like random list to me, that's not as much fun. And I've signed some of those, and I've never gone back to check to see if I'm qualified. If I get really bored or I catch the flu or something like that. Set the dog alarm off. Can you hear that deep dog bark there? That's
like the guard dog.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll go back and check some of those, but I just don't have the desire to look through random stats. I'm not a GSAC guy, so I can't write a program for it or anything. But those were kind of soured me in the beginning, finding those and being more trouble than they're worth. I could go find 10 more caches before I figured out if I was qualified for that one.
Right. Well, if someone's decided they'd like to try some challenge caches, what are some ways they can try and figure out where to find them? Like, how do you look on the map and go, there's some challenge caches?
So the first thing I would say is, and there's several different ways to find these, right? But first thing I would say is, especially if you're brand new at it, before you get intimidated and hear I can't do a bunch of these challenges, there's absolutely a challenge out there that's suited to your type of caching. No matter what type of caching you're into, there's a challenge for it and something that you'll enjoy, right? Don't jump in with something that's that sounds terrible. Jump in with something that's fun. But the easiest way to do it, and now somebody correct me if I don't get this right, because this may be a premium feature, but I'm not sure. So on geocaching.com, you can filter and you can just type in challenge as the name of the cache. Is that a premium feature or I don't know?
I feel like that might be a premium feature, but
Okay. So if you're premium, we got premium like the third day we were cashing.
yeah.
And haven't ever not had it. So sometimes I forget what I couldn't imagine not having the premium part.
I
of it
always
now,
tell
so.
people if you think you're gonna find more than 30 caches in a year, then just pay the $30, right? Like that's $1 a cache right there.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a couple Starbucks or something,
Right?
or maybe more than a couple.
Well, I don't know what you get.
No, so if you can do that and you are premium, the first thing I would do is just look. You know your area is already. Just go in and you can type words into what's the title and filter it, and it'll only pull up the challenges. You just select the puzzles, and it'll only pull up ones that's challenge in it, which is a rule after the moratorium that it had to have the word challenge in it in English in the title. So that's a pretty simple way to filter it. And then see what's around you. You can also, if you can filter those too, you can do it by difficulty. So start with one that's lower if you're new to it, or leave the whole thing open and see what you like. The other way, and I know it's another paid feature, but if you're on the Project DC, they have a map of them. It's great.
Yeah.
And if I'm pretty sure that's a premium feature also. But if you get on Project DC under the challenge map, it'll even tell you which ones you're qualified for. So you pull up a map of your area, and so if you want to start with ones you're already qualified for, because you want to get a few quick smileys and find out, where you actually are on the totem pole of challenges, it'll map the area for you with little smiley faces and everything. But it'll also have other ones that you can go for, sign, and start working on after that. But you can't make it any easier than having a map exactly where all the challenges are, and it tells you if you're qualified without even clicking on them. It's
pretty slick.
That's almost cheating. That's so easy. So.
Yeah, that is a paid feature within Project GC, and if you're into challenge caches, it makes that so worth it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, as soon as you become that paid member, it starts processing all those challenges for you.
Oh yeah, and the profile is open to everybody on Project GC, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
The front page profile. So
you can go search for challenges.
Yeah, no, I just mean just your status, your user profile that has the breakdown of everything.
Yeah.
If you look at that, if you're looking like what challenges are out there, pretty much, just about maybe 90% of it, everything on that page, there's a challenge associated with it. And if you're working on challenges, there's even a few on there, like the basic stuff that it'll, like if you go to Jasmer, let's say you want to do a Jasmer or DT, at the bottom of that, there's a link that'll even link to what you need to find left.
Mm-hmm.
It'll bring you up a list per area of what you need to find and where they are to satisfy those challenges. So I think Jasmer, DT, maybe 365. There's a couple of them.
Do it, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of them on there that it'll even do loops. I mean, that's taking all the work out of it for you sometimes. But so be careful. It's a little cheating. But they've really made challenges to the forefront where anybody can do it. You don't have to spend 50 hours on the computer trying to pull up data and stuff like that. You can just go and have fun and do challenges that are tailor-made to whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then put them out for other people to find after that.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah.
I don't think that's cheating because you still got to go find the caches. You still have to do the work.
Wait, hold on. You got to go find these caches?
Yeah.
How about you just log them online? It's paperless logging, right? No, that doesn't count? Okay.
So now
Armchair cacher.
That's armchair. Okay, that's right. That's right.
All the challenge owners are now going to audit your log. Okay.
Yeah. That is
the problem with auditing the logs of the caches Jesse gets to is you have to also get to those places.
I do own some of those like that, and it's easy to audit your caches in town. It's not as easy hey, I'm going to hike 10 miles and that's a little bit harder, but it's worth it sometimes. Sometimes it's funny.
Nice. Let's see. Dora Moore said, let me see if I can find her. She said, one of my favorites was to find a cache with a group of whose finds add up to more than 10,000. I put a group together of 13 newish cachers and one ringer with over 5,000.
That is awesome. I've never heard of that version of it. I would assume they wouldn't let you do that now because you wouldn't be able to write a checker for it, probably. Not an easy checker for it, but I love that. Yeah, I would go after that one, definitely.
So
anything that encourages you to get out with a group and do it,
Exactly.
That's great. You normally can't do that, and they probably got rid of it because there's no way to really prove, I
Right.
guess, that who was
Well,
there.
it would have been grandfathered. So
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
be there until something happens.
Yeah, definitely pre-moratorium for sure, right? But I would absolutely go after that challenge if I found it anywhere close to me. That's a fun one.
Well, that one's up here in Ladner, BC, and it is a fun one. I've done it as well with a large group, and the cool thing is exactly as Dora Morris said. Like it prompts you to get a bunch of newer cachers together to go and find that cache together, so that you can all find it, and then it's an opportunity to also explain challenge caches to newer cachers. So I think it's a win in a couple of different ways.
Well,
absolutely, that's a great one.
You qualify all by yourself.
Well, now, but even when I found it, I certainly didn't. And I mean, that was the fun though. Like we went with a group of I don't know when we did. Is a large group, like 13, 14 people as well. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Those are fun. Now, definitely, I'm a big fan of the new rules. Whether people like that or not, I like the new rules they put in place. It does eliminate some of the fun ones like that, but it also cleaned up a lot of the issues,
Yeah.
And we don't want to get into the negative stuff, right? But there were some issues out there, and there were some arguments that happened and stuff like that. But unfortunately, it does also scoop away some of those, like that we wouldn't be able to do, or some of those things you couldn't do. But they were fun. There were some really fun ones. Like they're still out there. You can still find them if they haven't archived them. You can still do them. So
that's right. Now, Jesse, you talked a little bit about Project GC. But if you're doing challenges that are maybe a little older, right, before the moratorium, what are you doing to keep track of your progress against this?
Let's see. So now on Project GC, they do have if you do a write note, you can get a list of the ones that you've signed and are working on. You can also do a list of ones that you're just targeting by writing a note in there and putting in the square brackets, whichever ones those are, and put not signed. So it'll keep a list for you of the ones that you've signed and are working on, or not signed but are working on. So Project GC will keep a list for you. If a lot of the older ones, when they're possible, even if they're pre-moratorium, some people have built checkers for them.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they're before, they'll go back and do it. If not, and you don't use GSAC, get a buddy that uses GSAC and have him check it. But I've even gone old school on some of the challenges to get out paper, and I'll figure out whatever I need to figure out and look through caches and go through it manually. And sometimes if it's something fun like that, it's worth doing, right? You can go through your stats. There's 1,000 ways you can go through your stats and see if you're qualified for a challenge. Some of them are harder, like when you're doing the degrees or something like that, degrees from home. Luckily, there's an automatic way to do that one. But we have kept lists. One of the ways we do it, to have a second backup, not that you should always have a backup, right? We'll do bookmark lists, which I think are just called lists now. But I have them both online and offline. I save them on the Cachly app, and also save them on geocaching.com. But and then we check back regularly, see if we're qualified. And one of the things I do for the old ones is I always check in the logs, and I would tell everybody to do this too. Even if they don't have a checker on there, check in the logs of ones that you're working on. And a lot of times when people have found it and they're found it logs, they'll say, I used this on Project GC. Even though it's not an official part of the thing, quite often you'll find that now, because they can write checkers for a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it may not get you all the way there, but it'll get you a lot of the way there. And that's why because it won't get you all the way there, is probably why it's one of the old ones and not new ones. But Project GC is your friend for sure.
That's some great advice.
So many great tools out there now.
Oh, gosh, yes.
So let's see. Scrufter asks, there's a series that has fake difficulty and terrain ratings. Do you think making challenges easy through a series cheapens the game?
Oh, gosh. So this is one of those questions so this is the reason so first of all, yes. But
simple answer, yes. Okay.
yeah,
No.
This is the reason why we have stopped doing like DT loops, is because, for fizzy loops or whatever you want to call them, because there's so many of those. Well, first of all, challenges, there's so many things here. So there's inflated numbers like that. Like every once in a while you see a liar's cache, and those are usually pretty funny if they're rare. You see one and it says make a big story about how you got here and fought a bear. Those are funny, but you don't want a bunch of them, right? But like whole groups of inflated, it just ruins it. You're not doing anything. So that totally invalidates fizzy loops if you're doing it. Or you'll see challenges that they totally inflate it so you can get all 81 in one day. Well, that ruined that whole part of the game for you. So that's not good. Now, ruining the game is pretty strong, right? Because you can play. You don't have to find that cache. Like, oh, that's a fake. Okay, I'm not interested in it. Not like fudging by a half point, but it's like a 5-5 and it's in the Walmart parking lot. They're probably lying. Like, let's move on. But yeah, so that it really does. I mean, you can't control what people do with stuff, and it's not worth getting upset about, but it does kind of, if you're really into truly getting your stats authentic, that you would shy away from something like that. Because getting a fizzy loop of multi-caches, that's a huge accomplishment. But not if you get them all and it's in one field together and they're all in on the ground, right? You didn't do anything there. You're just ruining it for yourself. But so, I'm not a huge – we kind of shied away from the fizzy stuff after doing it the first time. We wanted to get it one through, because then after that we just stopped tracking it because I saw too many of those fizzy all in one day things. There are some legitimate ones, 100% legitimate. They got them all legitimate. But there's also some fudged ones, Those are – plus, you're not supposed to do that with a challenge. The new rules say that the terrain rating on it is supposed to reflect that cache. Not like took you a year to get here. That's, those are not true. So there are just so many things that frustrate you about that. Right.
All right. Well, we've covered frustrations and negative things. Let's move to positive. Do you have any stories of maybe a recent challenge, cache success that you could share with our podcast?
Well, so because of the time we're in right now, and if people listen to this afterwards, we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? So we've really tried to, and everybody has to do their own thing safely, right? That we've really tried to be really safe and stay away from traveling, and that's what we do is travel. And we do most of our caching traveling. So all of our goals that we're working on now, we put on hold. Just for sanity. We had scheduled to finish up our 50 states, finish up our counties, and we're in striking distance on both of those. And we're going to finish those off and go to the 2020 celebration. And it was also our anniversary at the same time. And we had these big things planned for the whole year. Well, we put all those on hold in March once we saw this was going. So those were going to be the ones we finished. And without being depressed about it, we're just going to do them next year. We'll do this as soon as it's over. We'll knock those out. We only have like 4 counties left and a few more states to get. We'll get them. But so I'll say the last big, we've done some smaller challenges, but the last big challenge we finished, and you might laugh about this because it's not really a big challenge, but for us, it was a huge challenge. I've signed a few, find 100 Earth Cache challenges. And I'm not a huge Earth Cache finder. I've published a few. I found a few. I found one of yours. But I just, some of them are great and not all of them are. I don't really want to, walk up and read a sign and answer some questions off a sign. That's not my favorite. Although sometimes they're in beautiful locations, they're kind of, and I'm that, not even old school, but I'm the kind of cacher that likes to find something. So I really want to find a physical object, and that's just me. So it took us forever. I signed those years ago, and I signed like 3 or 4 of them. And then I come across another one. I'm like, we'll never finish this, but I signed it anyway. I'm like, now we have to because I've got like 4 of these. By the way, all inflated too. All those were like 5s, and none of them were right. But the difficulty might have applied to us because everything else we found like 200 of or more, 2,000 of. And it was like 40 for the longest time on Earth Caches. So we finally finished that one. It was like, woo. Which it's funny because it was a huge success for us, and everybody else is like, yeah, I found like 400 of those things. What's wrong with you? But it's about what it is for you and, and your caching style. And it could be a huge accomplishment for you and not for somebody else. But it was fun for us because that was like the lagging stat that we had out of everything. So that huge accomplishment for us.
There you go.
I haven't had Earth Cache since, but that's okay.
Well, Jesse, we have to change topics. I can't hold Land Monkey back much longer.
I know. I'm glad I'm waiting for. I said I found his and favorited the one that I found of yours too. So
Okay.
Was that the one at the University of BC when you?
it was, yeah, very creative actually. It's like that was cool because you did something different. Now that may be common and I just don't know, but it was really cool when I found it, and it got a favorite point easily, right?
Awesome.
I think there was another one we found up there too that you may have recommended that wasn't yours in the park that was up there.
Okay.
I'd have to research it, but
Yeah, no worries.
it's yeah. So that was laughably, I guess, but that was a huge accomplishment for us to get to that number 100. So
Well, it is, but I think what you're describing is one of the beauties that I think we all love about this game, and it's kind of what you're getting at earlier when you were talking about the game within the game, and it's just that there's so many different ways to play this game, right? So if your way of playing the game is I want to be out on mountains and back roads and finding ammo cans, you can play it that way, right? You don't have to go and find the fake 5.5 in the Walmart parking lot, right? So I think that's one of the beauties of the game, and certainly one of the things where if you do focus on the challenge aspect of it, you're going to tend to probably steer away from some of the less spectacular caches because the challenge is probably going to drive you to finding more interesting caches.
it is, and it really did. It brought our family together caching at the beginning because we do, just like you said. I love to hike and hang off the edge of a mountain and do all those fun things out in nature, and whether it's an ammo can or you have to climb a tree to get to way up, whatever it is, those are fun. My littlest one at the beginning, if it didn't have a toy in it or a chance of a toy in it, she wasn't really interested. She didn't want to get out of the car. Now she's grown to be a teenager now, so it's not cool currently.
She didn't want to get out of the car anyway.
That'll change.
Yeah, my other one, she liked the ones that were more, she liked the tree climbs and stuff like that. She was a little gymnast athlete and everything else, so she could do all that stuff and weighed 0 pounds. And my wife only really cared about them at first when they had a historic component to them. So if you're in a challenge, you can, even an LPC can possibly feel part of a challenge, whether it's how old it is or where it is or whatever else. So when you can combine all those things and still feel like, hey, I'm still checking something off that matters, even though it's the kind of cache I don't like, but my daughter likes, it's huge that you can combine all those and everybody can still have fun with them, right? So, it's great, I think, especially if you cache as a family or even if you're your own cacher yourself, you can really find something that energizes you during the high times, and we all go through them too, the low times, and you're like, this seems to be the same every day. I got to get re-energized.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesse, a few moments ago, you mentioned that it was your anniversary coming up, and your wife gave specific dates where you didn't. So just in case you didn't know, it's the 22nd anniversary on the 22nd of August.
It is indeed. And it's not even the 23rd next year. So I don't know. It matches this year. It doesn't match next year. I don't know.
Weird.
It's not on the 23rd next year. So, and that's one of those really disappointing things. It was going to be a spectacular all-in-one. We were going to Alaska, 2020 celebration. Could have possibly been up to see you guys, and then it was going to be our 50th state also. And there was all these things that were coming together. And then something derailed it. So
something. Yeah.
I don't know if y'all heard. There's something going on out there.
Just in BC is what I heard.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
is it? Okay. Then we're good then.
Yeah.
We're back on.
Typical Washington. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways. So we joked earlier that you wrote the book on challenge caches, but you proved we weren't joking. You showed us. But if people were curious about your book, what can they expect to find in there?
So we really wanted to, now obviously some of the stories of how, we talk about geocaching and we talk about challenges in there and we kind of lay it out, but we didn't want to write a book that was only, just like an instruction manual. We really wanted to tie our personal experiences into it. So we tried to put a little humor into it. Now the information is in there. You can go through that and get a good primer on challenges. but we tied it to, how it really affected our family and some fun stories. Obviously, I've already let out of the bag, but there's trackables hidden in it. And, we try to give some of the stories and maybe possibly that'll give somebody some inspiration on giving challenges a try. They're for everybody of all level. There's people like yourself that have found over 20,000 caches. That's crazy to me. And there's people that have been in the game way longer than me and, since the beginning, and they only find a handful every year, but they've been doing it the whole time.
Yeah.
Some people only go out in the wilderness and some people only do it in the city. There's people of all levels. And I think challenges are kind of that thing that everybody can do. You can't do them all. You can't find all the caches either, I've heard, but you can find something that excites you about the game. And hopefully people that do read the book, hopefully one, you get information you need out of it, right? All the information is in there. But hopefully you'll get a little humor and a little stories, and maybe it'll help relate some of that, the rules and technical information to real life.
I also got my copy through the Cache Crate, and I found it very relatable and a fun read. So thank you very much to you and Christy for all the work that went into putting that together.
Well, thank you. She just let me put my name on the front of it, and she wrote it. But yeah. Now, you know what? And that was just kind of like caching. That project was almost just like caching for us. We've been together almost 22 years now. Really close, in fact. We're almost like a few days away. But not that I haven't planned anything. That was a project together, and it was just like caching. Anything you can do to work on something together like that as a team, that really it really brought out all those. We got to go through all those stories, just like you do with geocaching. Like, hopefully people go back and look at some of the photos they put on 10 years ago, especially if they have kids, and it's like a big photo book. It was a fun project.
That's awesome, man.
Nice. Well, Jesse, you've talked so many different challenges tonight and some ways to do them. Could you narrow it down and just have one top tip to leave with our listeners about challenges?
Yeah, I would say try it. That's the short version of that tip, right? But I would say just give them a try. They're accessible to everybody, and we're in a weird time right now in the world. So sometimes, although the geocaching numbers are up, according to HQ and everybody else right now, people are getting into the game. People are still finding caches. Some people are down. Geocaching is like a long-term thing, right? It's not like you do it for a month and you quit. Hopefully people do it for a long time. So you go up and down. And for us, it's been a way, even in those times where, life gets in the way sometimes and you get down or whatever. Those are the things that we keep going back to excite us again about something new. We've scrapped whole challenges before. Not that you scrap them. I mean, you're just not working on them right now, but right. And picked up a whole new one just because it's a whole new way to play. And it's almost like starting a brand new game, and you're now excited about something brand new. And right now, the one we're working on is we want to find all the caches that are still active that were published in the year 2000, which will take us a long time to do, right? But it's always going to be kind of sitting there, and it works perfectly for us because we love to travel.
Right.
So now the overwhelming majority are in the United States, but in North America, but there are other places too. So we really want to do that, and that gives us something fun to do for a long time. And all of that is because of a challenge, because we're challenging ourselves with that. So it's just try it. That's the thing. Give it a shot. You may like it, you may not, but it may change the whole way you play this game that we all play every day. So
exactly.
Very cool.
Jesse, thank you for coming on. I hope you'll stay with us for the after show. That time of extemporaneous free association we call the after show.
I was hoping Land Monkey was going to say that again, but
no, I'm not even going to try it again.
He didn't say it the first time.
That's right.
That's true. We're going to give him a second shot. What are you talking about?
So generous.
Folks, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Now, next week, we are talking with Team Noltex about thinking outside the box.
Always fun. And then a couple weeks after that, we're going to have this guy named Rock Chalk on. I think I've heard of him. Some updates from HQ. That'll be a lot of fun. It's always good to have him around.
It's always a lot of fun when Rock Chalk's on the show. And, it's time when we start thinking about Rock Chalk being on the show, we start thinking about hashtag podcast baking and, everybody whipping up their Nanaimo bars and eating them while he's watching. So
There you go.
But speaking of Nanaimo bars, we want to take a moment to thank Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Yes, landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure geocaching store. Check them out online. And remember that they are shipping online orders daily. We also want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Landsharks, JP's Geo Designs, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cashly. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting the show, click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com a website.
Just like Dune Buddy did.
CRS 98,
Logwork,
Kid Vegas 19.
Segehove,
LG 9000,
My favorite MC3 Cats.
Antaeus,
Seaback Tribe,
Subway Mark.
Wet Coaster,
the entire Camp Clan,
Trexer 0.
0, Ackerduck,
Boomer 365, and the baby's awake.
Team Noltex, who's going to be on next week.
that's right. Broncos fan for life,
Dick a Magnet,
Genies,
Alarobrick,
B Pendragon.
Billy Robson,
Wino Seattle. Sorry about waking the baby.
Doramore.
the Geo Travelers,
Green Words,
T Sayer.
M Nerve,
Kev MacD,
Fairwood West.
Highlands Guy,
Limax,
Sprouter.
Keats 94,
GSM ×2,
The Geo Nav Pros.
On a Boat.
Gennelbarb.
All right. Well, hey, Jesse, as Chris said, we appreciate you coming on. If people wanted to get in touch with you, how would you like them to do that?
So obviously through geocaching, but on Facebook and Instagram, it's Memphis Mafia, just spelled with an F, and then every once in a while, I'm on Geocache Talk podcast. Actually, every Sunday, but we're on there every Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, we just started this new thing. No, so obviously we joked about the podcast thing. We're all friends, right? And then there's actually every once in a while I show up on the Challenge Talk podcast. So another one we started just about challenges. So and there's a lot of people interested in challenges, and I will. It's hard for me to say no talking about challenges. Anybody ask, I'll do it. But that's first Thursday of the month. It's on every month. So any of those places, and then obviously the main place we all connect with each other, right? Geocaching.com.
That's right.
It's happens to be Memphis Mafia on there as well. So
How convenient.
Yeah,
It even says that on your book.
MEMFIS Mafia.
Yes.
There you
yes.
Yes. Points for consistency.
go. Yep, and folks, if you're looking for any of the hosts of this show, well, we're out there. We're really out there. You can come find us.
That's right. Hey, thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you driving in the car right there, you can be part of the show. Call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment. Ask us a question or email us a geocoin any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Also, your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, please click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Give us a thumbs up or even a review. The show is produced by Chris Umpenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons 3.0 license, Attribute 3.0 license. I got it in the wrong order this time, but it's still under that license. It's copyright 2020 by Chris Umpenauer. And folks, with all that said, I ask you to stay tuned for the extemporaneous free association that is
The After Show.
All of a sudden, I'm feeling a lot better about myself. That's all I have to say. Extemporaneous. All right.
extemporaneous.
All right. Hey, we're in the after show. It's we the first piece of hashtag Patas we have is B Pendragon really wants his pun in here. So how are Peloponnesian Simeon and a mechanic the same? They're both grease monkeys. There you go.
Yeah.
Come
Come on, that's a good one.
That is good.
That's not too shabby.
No.
All right. Udak had a Fatas. She was asking a very good question. Anyone surprised that Wonders of the World is easier to complete than Mysteries at the Museum? Well, we think it is. Has anybody finished it yet? Has anybody found out about the mystery 50 more caches you have to find at the end?
I haven't started either one, so I don't have anything to compare.
I have heard that some people have finished it already.
I'm not surprised.
They probably started a week ago and just did all the logs today.
That would be hard because you don't know which ones are going to have the little souvenirs on it.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Unless you just found a bunch of them, right?
If
And
you
you're
find
probably
enough,
covered.
I guess it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But
Yeah.
there's always someone who's got to rush through it, right? I don't know. I said the other night, we've got all year, and you know what? There's no rush. May as well just.
Whoa. Land monkey. Are you sure that's you? Are you feeling okay?
Yep, I'm good, man. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
When you say we've got all year to complete this, that's not you.
No, yeah, it's the new me.
Okay.
The new you.
Jesse, Quads in the Mud said we have an awesome spreadsheet for all the year 2000 caches.
I was just looking at that same message. Yeah.
Nice.
See that? Yeah. Yeah, it's getting less and less hard to keep up with all the webcams because I just noticed tonight that for there's less than 250 I think in the world, and there's 99 in the U.S. and one of those is disabled.
Oh,
So that means, and it looks like based on it, people are like taking the selfie photos, so it looks like that's going to go down to 98 real soon. That's sad. That's not a lot, right? It doesn't seem like they're coming back out anytime soon. And although we've heard mixed messages on that, but I go find them. Find any of them that you're close to because they're going to be gone soon, and they may not come back.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, and taking a selfie at a webcam cache is just wrong. There's no way around that. That's not the way you do it.
you can take the selfie, just don't use it to claim the find.
Okay.
At the same time, this is one of those not popular opinions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be the one that's going to tell them that and get a webcam archived?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but if the webcam is working and you
Right.
just submit a selfie because it's easy.
Well,
No. If it's working, you obviously, but we all know, and I would not say a GC number on any of these, but we all know that there's several of them. We probably know where they are, that the owner's out of the game for 10 years, and that webcam doesn't even exist anymore, and they just haven't caught it yet.
right.
Or intentionally are, looking the other way because they don't want to be the reviewer that gets the hate mail. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quad says the one in Eugene is disabled. And I think I got that last summer.
I don't think I've gotten that one yet.
Wet Coaster says, I think there are less than 10 webcams in Canada.
There's not many at all left.
Yeah, it's most of them I think are on the coasts, and at least in the U.S. Most of them are on the coasts mainly. There's some dotted throughout the U.S., but especially Washington has a whole lot for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I found there was a lot on the East Coast when I did my road trip last September through there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Die Monkey shared that. Oh,
I was going to say MC3 Cats is going to make a Save for Webcam t-shirt.
there you go. And Die Monkey said they're planning their hashtag geocache road trip on Saturday, which includes one webcam. There you go.
There you go.
Good way to
Did
plan.
I see earlier with hashtag podcast baking that she's doing blueberry cobbler?
Oh, I missed that.
Blackberries, I think,
blackberry.
from the yard. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yum.
Jesse, I don't know why, but people like to bake during this podcast.
I've heard that. When I first heard it, I thought you said podcast bacon. And I was really interested. And
Also
then
good.
Bacon is almost as good as bacon. So, pies are good. Bacon's better, but,
Bacon is meat candy.
Yes. Oh, and if you've had candied bacon, if
Yes.
you haven't had candied bacon, I just changed your life. Go get some.
Go get some. Yes.
That's candied meat candy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Lisa owns the Washington State Webcam Challenge.
Ah,
Oh, what is that challenge? Is that
Yeah,
how many is
I
that? I
don't
wonder.
know. I have to look it
GC
up.
code, please. Yeah. All
I had one and I actually got pushback on it. I had a a challenge to find 25 webcams, and I got a little bit of a pushback on that one.
Really?
Yeah. At first, being reviewed, they were like, "Are you sure?" Because it was right after the moratorium, or whatever, and
Oh, okay.
they were still experimenting with 5 or 10 people that have found in the area, that kind of deal. And
Yep.
luckily, I live in an area where people are crazy cachers, so I can almost always get a challenge approved.
Nice.
I have a list of several people that I know who's going to qualify for everything. So
Very cool.
Nice. Well, earlier, Seebeck Tribe, we were asking, has anybody completed the Wonders of the World? She was able to grab 6 of the 7 ancient wonders, plus grabbed a lab adventure in Olympia. For a great
Nice.
day.
Sounds like a good day.
Mm-hmm.
that is good. I have 0. I don't know about you. I have 0 of the new souvenirs so far.
Yeah,
Same
I
here.
have one.
Well, I don't. I don't have any of the souvenirs yet. I have the one passport stamp.
The step, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it though. I like it already.
I
The
think
way
they
they
did
have
a
it
good
set up. I
job.
haven't started yet. I'm starting Saturday, but
Yeah.
I like it. I don't know. I guess I'm a sucker.
Ah,
Shiny things,
yeah, shiny thing, digital souvenirs. But I think they did apply lessons learned from Mystery at the Museum,
hmm
and there's definitely some flavor of that, but it's been tweaked a bit, and yeah, I like it. I think they did a good job.
I liked the launch of Mystery at the Museum when they had the video, the news
Yeah.
shot, and everything else. They should do that every single time. That's a great way to kick off a new souvenir, or whatever you call it,
Yeah,
campaign.
that was a lot of fun with our good friend Rock Talk. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have? I am sent a fatas saying he got called a bum because he got the Petra passport stamp on the way home from work and didn't wait for monkey cakes. it was 50 meters from FedEx and he had something to ship, so he had to go for it.
Of course. You can't just pass it up. I mean,
There you go. UDAC was checking in on your home redecorating. I think Christy answered her earlier, but she's wondering if you've redecorated your home. She doesn't recall the picture behind you.
so the funny story behind that is that's a pandemic thing. So that we have a kind of a good size office, but it's kind of odd shaped. And we had it set up for one person. Well, we're both working from this office now, so we had to change. We didn't redecorate actually, but we had to add another desk in and move around. That's just a sign of the times, right? Working from home. Definitely a new one for me. I've never worked from home in my life,
Oh,
and my wife has. She does consulting work and flies around and stuff like that, and she works from home. But it's a new thing for me. So we're both learning how to do that, and we learned really quickly we couldn't sit at the same desk. That did not work out. So we had to add another desk in here, face them, towards each other, whatever. But yeah, so that's how we were decorated. We shoved 2 people into one office.
awesome.
As long as you don't have the same online meeting at the same an online meeting at the same time, it works out.
And I get in trouble because I tend to have a loud voice when you have that loud voice on the phone problem. And yeah, we have to step out if we're doing phone calls or meetings at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Headphones don't even work. So
No, my wife and I are in the same situation. So,
I think a lot of people are right now.
mm-hmm. So GSM times 2 wanted to brag that he got his first Fizzy Loop as his 24,000th geocache find. The last 3 on the same day.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his first Fizzy Loop on his 24,000th geocache.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
It's unusual. Yeah.
It seems like you would accidentally do it by 24,000.
You'd think. But
That's
yeah,
a lot. I mean, that just shows you there's those weird DT combinations out there, right?
Exactly.
When we finished our first loop, we couldn't do it in our state. We had to go to another state to do it. So it was one of those weird. I think it was a 4.5, and we could not find one anywhere that was legitimate. I mean, I have seen some since then that were less than legitimate, but we did find one.
Yeah, there you go.
MC3 Cat says, and the divorce rate is up, as well as the birth rate.
Oh, for
Yeah.
people sharing offices, yeah.
More babies and more divorces.
Yeah, well,
The
hey.
birth rate is up from people sharing offices. Hold on now.
Wait
What
a
are you
minute.
doing at work?
I thought this was a G-rated show.
Well, it's the after show now. So.
Oh, okay.
It's G+.
Let's see. Your wife said, Jesse, that your daughter was convinced she wanted to go to the University of BC after finding Land Monkey's geocache there. It was a gorgeous.
Yeah. That was during the time when we were scouting colleges, and she kind of fell in love with it a little bit. So
It's a beautiful.
didn't end up there. She ended up at UNLV, but she was convinced for a little while we were up there. I can't remember what was the name of that park. You recommended it, and we went and found the oldest one in BC, I think.
Oh, so
Tree Hugger Cache, or
yeah, so Tree Hugger. That's right near UBC as well. So probably yes, in that direction. That
I can't remember the name of that park, but it was beautiful. There was one overlooking, and I think it was an earth cache that we also found where you overlooked the water, and there was like a little structure, a formation down in the water as well. But
Yeah, I think that's Cuttlefish's earth cache down there. That is boy, I should know the name of this park.
Is it Pacific Spirit?
Yes, it is Pacific Spirit. Thank you. Good job.
Good.
Thanks, Keats.
No, that's Keats. Keats.
Attaboy, Keats.
you said it was Cuttlefish's earth
Yeah.
cache.
I think.
Well, I'd say thank you to him because we probably got our answers close. There's no geologist in this family, so actually, sadly, that's not true. My mom, her first degree was in geology, so I should know more, but I don't. I just really don't. I'm always kind of close and fingers crossed. I'm like, let this be somebody nice. I think these are the answers. I don't know.
Oh, you haven't found mine then. Okay.
Yeah. Chris really enjoys it when you make up random answers for his earth cache. That's just the advice I can give.
Well, I really know the difference between the right answers and what somebody has Googled.
There you
You
go.
weren't there, buddy.
Yeah, I have a few out there, and really, as long as somebody even tries at all.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you can, not brand new, but now that you can require a photo also, you've pretty much met the threshold once you get that photo there. Now, and then try anything.
Exactly.
Be like, it looks like dirt. Man, you got it. That's close enough.
Right.
You made the effort to get there, and you're at least.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not teaching a geology lesson. I just want you to try it all, and I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Christy in the chat said she also enjoyed Stanley Park, and that it's beautiful, and it is. We're really lucky up here. We live in just a fantastic part of the world. But yeah, hoping you guys are going to come back up and visit again sometime.
I really hope we can. We intend to. There's a few things in the way, but we intend to. So.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, too bad you couldn't make it for your 22nd anniversary, but.
Yeah, it was aligning too well. We should have known something was going to happen. Everything was just lining up perfectly, and that's okay. We got a few more to go. So
Yeah.
I bet you got lots more to go.
I hope so.
Keats had shared his patas that he found a cache today with a number of awesome recipes in it. Made him think of #podcast baking, and thought it was a great theme for a cache. So there you go.
Interesting.
That is
And
cool.
Mike
Like a
goes-
recipe exchange, like one of those old mixed CD exchange caches. That would be kind of cool if you had the recipes in there.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the idea.
Wet Coaster says the next geocaching book, Thursday Night Recipes.
There you go.
There you go.
And, I'll scroll up here. Keats actually put the GC in, but it's back here.
Yeah, I was looking for it as well.
Okay. It's called GC. Oh, there we go. GC 8 Alpha 7 Romeo Echo Nana's Recipes Cache, go find it by Rolly Lake. There you go. So it's out in the east, northeast part of the Fraser Valley there, and find some cool recipes. Very good.
Those are great caches. When people come up with some creativity to them, and do something like that. Obviously, everybody's not going to follow the rules, whatever you put on there, but the ones that do, it makes for a really fun cache.
Yeah, exactly. The book exchange or CD exchanges, things like that. Yeah, those are fun.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up the night for us. Jesse,
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to Christy for letting you join us.
And for being involved in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was actually nice tonight. She usually bullies me a lot more. So, she must be on her best behavior around you guys. I don't know.
Well, I think back again sometime soon.
I think we got the real scoop from her. I mean, what you said was all nice and fluff and puff, but
That's
really
true.
what she said seemed to narrow it down. So.
That's right. I give the PC answer. She tells the truth.
There you go. Awesome.
Folks, until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.